Guys, happy Wednesday to everybody. So today I am going to do my 3-month post-op from my mommy makeover surgery. So I had surgery back on Wednesday, December 11th, and I can't believe how quickly time has flown by. It seems like almost strange to look back and think about how different I felt immediately after the surgery and the progression to where I am now. So the surgeries that I chose to have were a tummy tuck and a breast reduction. So I did not get implants because I was large enough, actually too large. And so I chose to have a reduction. And it seems like I went down at least 3 or 4 cup sizes. So I had a pretty significant reduction, although I think that I still look very proportionate to my height and my weight. So I am 5'7" and I currently weigh about 170 pounds. And I don't think that I'm at my ideal weight necessarily. I mean, I'm definitely not like grossly overweight or anything, but I do still have a little bit of weight to lose from before having my daughter. You know, I was a little bit smaller before I had her, and I want to get back to where I was, you know, before I gave birth to her. So my daughter is now 2 years old, and the reason that I chose to have the surgery was because I had, you know, I've had big boobs my entire life, and it was always my goal to have at least a breast reduction after I was done breastfeeding my daughter. That was something that I've actually wanted since high school, and I'm 35 now, so I've had big boobs for most of my life, and I've never liked having them. I think that it like drew a lot of unwanted attention, and that just never really sat well with me. And so I would constantly buy like minimizer bras and just, you know, smash my boobs into like sports bras and all kinds of uncomfortable situations to try to make them look a little bit smaller. The tummy tuck only came about because my skin was pretty stretched out after having my daughter, and I had a pretty substantial case of what is called diastasis recti. For those of you that have had children, if you don't know what this is, it is where your stomach muscles don't come back together after you start the healing process after giving birth. So if you're not aware, your stomach muscles do separate to allow for the growth of your giant baby that you're going to be carrying around. And in a large number of cases, the stomach muscles do kind of grow back together, and you know, you're able to start doing sit-ups and crunches and all kinds of different ab exercises to strengthen those muscles back up. For me, the stomach muscles were about this far apart and they were never going to come back together regardless of the amount of crunches, sit-ups, planks, whatever ab exercise you can mention. Physically, they were not going to ever come back together. And what that resulted in is that my intestines were essentially able to sort of like squish out between my muscles. And so it looked like I had a pretty large pooch. I actually wasn't able to hold my guts in. And so that was the primary goal with the tummy tuck, was to sew those muscles back together. My separation started up by kind of like where my sternum is and went all the way down to my pelvic area. So there was just straight down stomach muscles apart. So the goal was to sew them back together, and then since they had to do the large incision to be able to do that, they removed the extra skin as well. So I also had a little bit of liposuction done along my bra line with the reduction, as well as on like my hips and my flanks that came along with the tummy tuck procedure that I had done. So it was not an easy decision for me to do this surgery. I was very nervous, very scared. I have like a few follow me around type videos that I did some days leading up to the surgery, and you can kind of see the anxiety in my face. Like, It stressed me out a lot because I'm not one of those people that enjoys going under the knife. I don't know who does, but for me, it just particularly scared me that I was doing something that would potentially like put me at risk for dying. You know, when I was going through with my plastic surgeon and filling out all of the paperwork at my pre-op appointment, you know, they said in there like this could result in death. You know, you never know what's going to happen. And so that part of it scared me. I was definitely a good candidate. My plastic surgeon is amazing, and she would not have performed the surgery if I wasn't a good candidate. But, you know, that's always a side effect of being put under anesthesia. There's also potential complications with infections afterwards. As you'll see, I'll show you my body at the end of this video, but you'll see that there were pretty large incisions, like essentially from hip to hip on my lower tummy area, as well as around, you know, my breasts, obviously, to do the reduction. So that's a lot of opportunity for bacteria and all kinds of stuff to get introduced in there. And, you know, infections can obviously lead to death. So I was nervous about that as well. Now, my surgeon was great because she had me use Hibiclens prior to the surgery and even after when I started taking showers. You know, I really trusted her, and she knew what she was doing, and she did a fantastic job. So there's a little bit of background for you. So let me just kind of fill you in on what has happened since my last check-in. And I believe my last check-in was 2 months, so 8 weeks post-op. And I will link all of my other videos down below. There's a playlist, so I'll just link you to that playlist. Since my last check-in, things have been going really well. I had started exercising again because I got the okay from my doctor. And by exercising, I mean just walking on a treadmill at, you know, just kind of a good pace, usually between like 3 and 3.5 miles per hour. I just like the last few days started using the incline a little bit so that I can start making my workouts a little bit tougher. It kind of sounds like I'm like easing into it in like the most painfully like snail's pace kind of way, but like that's kind of my choice because I don't want to cause any excess swelling or just any kind of like discomfort or put my surgery at risk in any kind of way. You know, I'm still pretty early on in the healing process, and I certainly don't want to do anything to compromise the end result. And so I'm choosing to get back into this whole like exercise routine very, very slowly. That means that I'm probably not going to achieve my like fitness or weight goals for quite some time, which I'm okay with, but, you know, I feel better taking things slowly. So I just recently started adding in the incline. I'm up to walking about 3.5 miles an hour, like I said, for an hour every single evening. I'm sure there are better forms of exercise out there that I could do, like, you know, there's all kinds of DVDs and, you know, all kinds of things that you can do for shorter periods of time, burning the same amount of calories as I do on the treadmill for an hour. But I like walking. I like the quiet time that I get to myself. You know, my husband watches Stella, and I just get to like be on the treadmill and watch videos or listen to music, and it relaxes me. So that is my preferred form of exercise. I definitely plan on stepping it up, like once I get past the real initial healing phase, which I think is probably going to be about 6 to 8 months. After that point, I can definitely start incorporating other kinds of like exercises like ab work and lifting heavier weights. I also have started lifting weights a little bit because I really do want to work on toning my arms. That's something that I'm taking very, very easy. In terms of incorporating. I'm just lifting 3-pound weights, you know, just to do like some arm reps, to work on my biceps and my triceps and my shoulders. You know, I don't want to do too much because I don't obviously want to damage anything with the breast reduction. And my breasts are pretty well healed, probably more so than my stomach is. But I still, you know, like my aim in all of this is just to like work into this really, really slowly so that I'm not doing anything to compromise the surgery, like I said before. So I started lifting weights. In terms of diet, that is kind of a tough thing for me. I'll be completely honest. I enjoy food. I am a grazer. I could eat all day long. That is a huge, huge issue for me because I am still probably taking in more calories than I should be on a daily basis. And so I haven't noticed any significant weight loss as of late. So that's something that I just need to be better about. What I need to start using again, and what really helps me be accountable, is using MyFitnessPal, which is an app that I have on my iPad. It essentially tracks your calories for the day. That's what I need to get back into doing, and that is my goal to start doing hopefully very soon. I am a work from home mom, so I stay home with my daughter and I work, and it's very difficult for me to refrain from snacking all day because the food is just there. I think it would be much easier for me if I worked outside of the home, but you know, I like my job because I do get to stay home with Stella. I just need to find a little bit more self-discipline, and that is kind of what my goal has been this entire year. 2014 has been to, find some self-control and some self-discipline, because that's really something that I tend to struggle with. So food is going okay. I'm definitely making healthier choices. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables if I can. And I try not to eat a ton of pasta. I did just have some spaghetti for lunch with Stella because we had some leftovers that needed to be eaten up, so I ate those. But, I'm not eating nearly as much, but I'm still probably taking in a couple hundred more calories than I should every single day just from snacking with Stella. Stella is a constant eater, and she should be because she's a growing girl, but I don't need to be snacking with her every time that she has a snack. So that's something that I struggle with. Sleeping is going great. I am back to just sleeping on my stomach every single night. I will say at the beginning of, I would say week 9 of recovery, I think I may have pulled a muscle while I was sleeping, which is I don't know how I'm doing gymnastics in my sleep, but I woke up one morning and my stomach muscles were just really, really sore. So I sleep in all kinds of contorted positions, but most of them are stomach-based sleeping. So I realize that's not ideal, but it's just what I've done my entire life. And so as soon as I was able to, I flipped back off of my back onto my stomach and started sleeping that way. I kind of had to adjust the way that I was sleeping for a couple days after that, while that sort of pulled muscle feeling healed. But I haven't had that since then. I still have swelling almost every single day to some degree, and the swelling is the hardest part. I don't have swelling around my breasts at all, but around my incision on my stomach. You'll see that I'm a little bit swollen today. It's not nearly as bad today as it can be on some days. The swelling is usually right over the incision, more on the right side of the middle part of my stomach. And it's a bummer because it's not only uncomfortable, but it also makes getting into clothing a little bit harder because, my pants will be tighter, and I usually just end up wearing yoga pants. I do wear yoga pants most days because, like I said, I just work from home with Stella, so I don't really have to get dressed up. But when I do want to wear jeans and there is swelling, that's kind of uncomfortable, so that's a bummer. Swelling tends to happen when I overdo it. So if I'm carrying Stella around too much, if I'm, lifting her too much, if I'm running around with her too much, if I'm not careful on the treadmill and I overdo it, I'll notice the swelling coming on. And the swelling is just really kind of your body's way of saying you should probably slow down a little bit. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's to be expected up until the year mark and possibly even after. So I'm not going to say goodbye to the swelling probably for a long time, and that's okay. I knew that was part of the deal, so nothing I can do about it. I'm really terrible about wearing my compression garments. Like, I'm not wearing one today. Most days I don't wear them anymore just because they're so uncomfortable. It's hard to, like, when you're drinking more fluids, you know, that's another thing that I'm trying to do, is just to drink more water every single day. When you're drinking a bunch of fluids, you obviously have to pee a lot more. And to get those, like, you know, the compression garments go all the way, like, underneath, like, my boobs almost. So to get that down, and they're so tight, and it's a pain in the ass, and it's just uncomfortable. And so I haven't really been wearing them. I think if I would wear the compression, like, underwear more often, I don't think I would have nearly as much swelling. So I should probably just wear the compression garments. I definitely do when I work. So when I'm doing flowers, or when I am working a wedding, I've definitely worn the garments, and that helps a lot. So I just need to, like, force myself to do it and deal with the fact that it's a pain in the ass to go pee. Nothing you can do about it. It definitely helps. So I just need to wear those garments. I just bought mine at, like, TJ Maxx. You know, they're like the Flexies brand that are meant to, like, you know, hide your tummy if you have one. I also wear Spanx. I bought a new pair of Spanx to be able to wear, and those suckers are tight when you first get them. Spanx are a total pain in the ass to get in and out of. So I save the Spanx for the wedding days, even though they're, like, even more of a hassle because I don't have nearly as much time to deal with the, like, up and down when I go to the bathroom. But it's just kind of like a must because I am on my feet literally all day when I'm working a wedding. So what else? Incisions are doing great. They definitely are turning a lot more purple now, and that's just part of the healing process. They actually didn't look very bad in the beginning. They were fairly light. I was really surprised, and now they've turned a little bit more red and a little bit more purple. Most days I try to put some kind of lotion on there. I've been putting argan oil along the incisions, and that helps them feel a lot softer. I try to, like, massage them in the evening right before I go to sleep, so around my breasts as well as along my tummy tuck incision. I'm not the best at the massage. Sometimes I just get lazy or I just get really tired at night, so I don't do it. But, you know, if I think about it, I'll definitely do it. I try to remember most nights to just kind of make a little bit of time for it. All it takes is like 5 minutes. So it's just remembering to do it and then actually, you know, doing it instead of being lazy and just falling asleep. Healing just great. I really honestly don't feel like I've had anything done most days. My only reminder is the scars. And also, when I started lifting weights a few days ago, I do notice, like, I can feel my stomach muscles. Like, I feel like I have a core again. I haven't had that feeling since before I got pregnant with Stella. My stomach muscles were never super strong to start with because I wasn't one of those people that when they exercised focused a lot on, like, core work. I never really did crunches, never really did sit-ups or planks or anything like that. So it just feels very different to notice my stomach muscles, and that's a very foreign feeling to me. So I'm just like, oh, this kind of sucks. So, you know, that's why I'm using the really light weights to start out with, and I'm definitely not overdoing it. What else? I did have another one of those blisters pop up. I mentioned in my 2-month update that I had gotten a blister along my incision line on one of my breasts, and that blister popped, and then I was left with just like a little bit of a hole there. What that was a stitch, an internal stitch working its way out, and it just got a little bit infected. So I just cleaned it up, put some Neosporin on there. So I had another one of those, cleaned it up, put the Neosporin on there, and it was fine within like a day. From time to time, I do still feel little stitches working their way out. It's less and less now in the healing process, and it's totally normal. It's weird and creepy when it happens because you'll just kind of be like rubbing or like massaging your incision line, and all of a sudden you feel like this like little like string type of thing, and you can just pull it and it comes out. So it's kind, like I said, it's kind of creepy and weird, but I just have sort of become used to it at this point. as I said, it's becoming a little bit less and less the further I get into the healing process. But, you know, it still happens. Swelling around my breasts is pretty much gone at this point. They have dropped. They are sort of in the location I think where they're going to be. I'm pretty sure they're close to their final size at this point. And I will say they are still larger than I wanted them to be. I was really hoping to like be on the smaller end of what is appropriate for my frame. Craig's really happy with them. He thinks they look great. He's glad that the doctor went a little bit larger or stayed a little bit larger. But for me, I could have been a B cup and I would have been fine with that. And I know most of the people out there who are like small chested are like, no, why are you saying that? But really, truly, like, I just don't care. You know, I'm not out there in the clubs trying to pick up dudes. I'm not a stripper. Like, I don't have any need for like big boobs. I just don't. I rarely dress up in sexy outfits, like, if ever. That's just not my life anymore. And so for me, I was more concerned about comfort and just being able to like put on a shirt without having to wear like a bra. And I could totally do that at the size that I'm at because my boobs just kind of like, they stay where they are now. Like, they have been lifted. They have been greatly reduced. And they look fantastic. I mean, they're perfect, like, symmetrical boobs. I mean, they're great, but they are still bigger than I wanted them to be. So that's a bummer. I know the doctor kind of pushed me towards keeping them more appropriate for my size and my frame. But still, you know, what can you do? They definitely started out looking like they would be a little bit smaller, but once they've like settled into their place, they sort of look a little bit bigger to me now. So I'm not like unhappy with them. I just wish that they would be maybe like another cup size smaller. So that would have been my ideal, but I'm not going to do anything about it at this point. I'm hoping that as I continue to lose a little bit more weight, that I'll lose a little bit more boobage that way. So we shall see. Anything else? Life's pretty good. I would say, looking back on it now, do I think that it was worth it? This was a hard question for me to answer at first because if you'll look back on my initial videos, I was in a large amount of pain. It was very, very painful the first week after surgery. There's no way around that. Some people experience the pain more than others do. I was one of those people that didn't respond well to my pain medication, and so that made it really hard for me because I was having to take oxycodone, and that just wasn't doing it. But because of the types of allergies that I have, I couldn't necessarily take a bunch of like other drugs. So that sucked. So it just left me with like having to deal with probably more pain than I could have dealt with had I been able to take maybe another type of drug. And then there were the muscle relaxers. I had to stop taking those early on because I was not able to go to the bathroom. They just completely stopped my intestines from working, and that was a huge issue. So, you know, like having to deal with like the cramping and stuff like that was a total pain in the butt as well. But seeing my body now and knowing what I feel like now and my increased confidence in myself, I would absolutely do it again. And that's hard to say, knowing that the pain that I had to go through to get to this point, because it's not pleasant. In my earlier videos, I kind of talk about what type of pain that feels like, so definitely refer to those. But to me, it was similar to like a labor kind of pain, just very like cramping, intense, very uncomfortable feeling. Not so much in my breasts. I honestly didn't feel like she did anything to my boobs. I have never felt any pain in my breasts at all. The pain all came with the muscle repair in my stomach, and not even so much like along the incision from the skin removal, just like the stomach work that she had to do to fix that. So Yeah, I have a checkup this Friday, a 3-month post-op appointment with my surgeon, so I'm excited to see what she says. And I may do a quick update video if if there's any like updates to share with you guys. But for the most part, I feel good. I'm doing good. I'm happy. I would do it again. And I feel confident. I feel great. And I'm so excited about that. I haven't felt this way in a long time about my body, and that's really all that I ever wanted from this. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off, put you guys up a little bit higher so that you can see everything, and I'll show you what my body looks like. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so this is with clothing. What I look like at this point. So I'll step back here. Hopefully you can see the boobs. I am wearing a bra today. Like I said, I don't necessarily have to wear a bra, but I do. I just feel more comfortable in one. These are underwire bras that I purchased, and they're from Soma. They're very comfortable. The underwear doesn't touch my incisions, so I don't have an issue with that at all. So let's take a look at the incision. Here is that swelling that I'm talking about. Hopefully you can see just that little bump right there. Most of my stretch marks were removed. There's just a few down here, but you can barely see them. Incision starts right here and goes all the way over here. So you can see it's definitely very purple. It's pretty smooth. It doesn't hurt to touch it. It's not uncomfortable in any kind of way. My belly button it looks like it has a purple ring around it, so that will hopefully fade, but I'm happy with the overall shape of my belly button. I do have swelling still on my flanks here. I can feel it in there. I did get, let's see, where are they at? These stretch marks here from the surgery from when she pulled the skin down. She essentially took everything from right here that was originally here, cut it off, and then pulled the skin down. So this skin here used to be up here, if that makes sense. And I do have, it's a little bit, because of the swelling here, this looks a little bit puckered, but it's actually pretty smooth. My scar is very, very smooth. I can like feel everything up here. I can feel my abs and everything. It gets very numb right here. So I still don't have feeling from about starting, I would say here over. I can feel everything down here, but this is all still dead. It's very creepy to me when Craig touches my belly button. I don't like anyone touching my belly button. I've never been sensitive about that, but I am now. So yeah, this is what everything looks like. I am very happy. As you can see, like in my pants, it doesn't, other than like the purple ring around my belly button, it really doesn't look like I've had anything done. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with the results so far. So it really is going to take about, sorry, let me bring you guys back down to a more normal level. It's going to take about another, 9 months or so for everything to heal completely. And then at that point, I should be good to go. Yeah, so like I said, if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I will update you guys if the surgeon says anything on Friday after my appointment, but hopefully everything is a-okay. So thank you guys so much for watching and for all of your support, and You know, if you are planning to have this surgery done and you have questions for me, let me know. I'm definitely not encouraging anybody to do this. Like, this has to be the right decision for you. So don't let anyone like force you into something like this or encourage you to do it. Like, it's got to be your own decision because it's a tough recovery and it's also a very expensive surgery. So, you know, make sure that you're doing this for the right reasons. So yeah, that's my little disclaimer. Again, if you have questions, list them down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.